Vivek Likhite sir, CA Jashan Subhedar sir, and the moderator will be CA Mohit Dhand sir. So let us welcome each and everyone on the dais. On stage, CA Govind Agarwal sir. Okay. CA Jashan Subhedar sir. Please be on stage. CA Mohit Dhand sir. CA Satish Jayaram sir. And Mr. Vivek Likhite sir. A big round of applause for everyone. Welcome everyone. I'll start by introducing each and everyone, starting with our moderator for this session, CA Mohit Dhand sir, who is a fellow chartered accountant, a commerce graduate, has DISA and also carries a certification in FinTech by IIM Ahmedabad and a certification in IFRS. Talking about his professional qualifications, he's a founder of Agarwal, Dhand and Motwani and Company, which was established in 2012. He has established TGC Consulting, which is focusing on outsourcing, advisory, and value-added services. Also, he has found Cash and Tech, a supply chain multi-funded financing platform, and is currently involved in consulting, specializing in risk audit and assurance, and leading supply chain finance at Cash and Tech. He's a faculty with Board of Internal Audit and Management Accounting, ICAI, on the certificate course on internal audit. Okay. The next one is CA Govind Agarwal. I guess he's not here. I'll just introduce the next one, CA Satish Jayaram sir. He has a post-qualification and a work experience of approximately 24 years in internal audit, risk management, and accounting operations. He is a chartered accountant and certified risk management by profession. He has an experience in internal audit and risk management operations for retail and manufacturing companies. He is currently the chief internal auditor of Thermax Group and is responsible for internal audit and investigations. Next to introduce is CA Jashan Subhedar sir, who carries over 16 years of experience in audit and across firms and industries, specializing in internal audit, statutory audit, SOX audit, tax audit, group audits, and compliances. Further, he is actively engaged in recruitment, learning, and development activities. Currently, he is the Senior General Manager Internal Auditor for APAC Region Johnson Controls Inc. So next one to introduce is Mr. Vivek Likhite sir. He's a Group Head of Corporate Audit Services and Senior Executive Vice President in Bajaj Finance Limited. Sir is qualified cost accountant and chartered financial analyst by profession. He holds more than 35 years of industry experience in the field of finance, costing, strategy, business process reengineering, credit operations, technology, and internal audit. Before joining Bajaj Finance, Vivek sir had experience with Rally Wolf Limited, if I pronounce it right, Larsen & Toubro Limited, the Tata Motors, Tata Motor Finance, and Tata Capital. Okay, I'll just introduce CA Govind Agarwal sir also. He'll be there in 5 minutes. He has an experience of about 30 years in steel, aluminium, chemical, and automobile industry. He is currently heading the internal audit of Bajaj Auto from 13 years now. Also, he has handled the internal audit of Hindalco, Aditya Birla Chemicals, and Tata Steel. Now, I request CA Amrita Kulkarni ma'am to felicitate the moderator of the session, CA Mohit Dhand sir. A big round of applause for CA Mohit sir. CA Satish Jayaram sir. A big round of applause. CA Jashan Subhedar sir. A big round of applause, please. Next one, Mr. Vivek Likhite, sir. Congratulations. A big round of applause. And we have Govind Agarwal, sir, also here. Welcome him. We'll felicitate him. A big round of applause. Okay, so I request everyone to start with the panel discussion now.
Hi everyone, good evening. First of all, I would like to thank Pune branch of WIRC, Pune branch of ICI, WIRC, Murtuja Bhai for arranging this interactive session on internal audit. I think on Sunday evening and afternoon, we are seeing full day, full hall is full. That means the interest of members towards internal audit and need itself. So I think a very important topic that we are going to discuss is reporting, communication, and stakeholder management, because output of whatever we do is report. And if the reports are not presented properly, communicated properly, I think then objective is not achieved. So with me, I welcome all the panelists here, having more than, I think, altogether 100 years of experience, if we so more than 100 years of experience. And just I'll take 1 minute to tell that when I started internal audit practice 7-8 years back, it was very difficult to get the practical aspect of internal audit in any book. And this is what I learned, I met, and whatever I learned from the industry captains, senior people, to understand, because in statutory audit, income tax audit, GST audit, you have formats, you have very clear understanding that what we need to do. But if you go and even search in Google how the internal audit reporting should be done, how it will be communicated, it's so confusing and it's not very practical. So I think this is a subject which we can only learn, as my personal view, that we can only learn from the experience of industry captains and experts that we have here today with us. So thank you, sir. Thanks for joining us. So with that, I'll start, on my first practical question with Govindji. Govindji, first, I would like to understand what is our perception of internal auditors in the industry or any organization? Are we considered still as someone who is discharging the compliance function, or we are looked at as a partner in building the businesses in the organization? We see that there is some shift talking about value addition and all, but what is the perception from the stakeholder side? Because you are there with all the large corporates, so you'd like to understand, for the benefit of people, how we are perceived from the industry point of view.
Yeah, it's a very tricky question. So if I talk about the perception, I mean, it depends whom are we talking. So if I am talking of my peers in the company, then we are necessarily will be asking so many questions, and they feel that we don't understand the business, we are doing postmortem, and in the line of the fire, what are the situation, we don't encounter them, and we simply ask question for the sake of asking. And so that is one side of perception. Another perception is top management. So top management, it depends what type of management it is. If it is a professional organization, or if it is a promoter-driven organization, a lot changes. Professional-driven organization, I have to basically take care of the professional manager's interest also, apart from the company's interest. Means I have to make sure that I don't offend them. I mean, don't take me otherwise, but this is, I'm talking reality. But if it's promoter-driven organization, and if promoter is interested, then he would expect you to present the ground report to him. And that's where the real value addition happens. I'm not saying that in professional organization value addition doesn't happen. It happens, but it has certain limitation. So that's how my take is.
Thank you, sir. Thank you. So continuing this, Satish, I would like to understand on the, we talk about, just continuing, are we still a cost center in the books of any organization? Or we can say that we are now a profit center as an internal audit function?
Okay. So good evening to everybody, and I'm happy to see the audience here. It's great. It's motivating for us also to talk about internal audit. And what I'm going to talk about are my views, their personal views, so they don't belong to my organization. So it's a caveat or whatever you call it. So it's like that. So going to your question is, internal audit used to be and is and will continue to be a cost center. I don't see it as a profit center anywhere. Logically or probably in my views, it should not be. When I'm saying cost center, basically, which means we are here for a purpose. We are not here to sort of give revenue to the organization. We are not here to sort of, the intention. The basic purpose is not to give that kind of a value add as such. I think the primary motive is just to serve the organization in terms of giving the status of the controls which are present and functioning. That's it, black and white. So, so when I'm saying it's a cost center, yes, it's a cost center. And it's again, increasing cost center, whatever you call it. But having said that, people use a word that there is a shift in the, from a cost center to a value add, I think kind of profession. Yeah. I would not use the word shift, I would use the word enhancement, because shifting would mean going away from a cost center mode and going to a sort of value add only. So I would say what is going on now, and also in promoter-driven companies as such, and also in other companies where the role is getting enhanced. So there is no compromise on us where we have to report facts, we have to report what it is, and be very clear about it, precise, concise, and speak the truth. We are not there to give an opinion. But when it comes to value add, there are various ways how we can add value to the organization, right, without sort of going away from the basic purpose what we are here for. So when I'm speaking about value add, I would split it into two ways. One is where the internal audit department or the head probably go extra step and try to inculcate a sort of an environment of culture, sort of controls in the organization. That can come through orientations, it can come through meetings, it can come through stronger engagement, it can come through asking the people what exactly they feel are the issues where they are seeing. So from that perspective, if the employees, the senior management, they all see that the internal audit is coming forward to talk to them. So that probably for me is kind of a value add in a way. So nothing harm in doing that. That is one kind of a value add. Other value add would be in terms of, which is quite a debatable kind of a value add in where we show value in terms of money.
Right.
Now again, I would I'll make a statement that it is not the job of the internal auditor to save cost in a company. It is his or her job to report the control status. But having said that, during a journey of reporting your audit, or you come across areas where you feel that you can recommend better ways of working, which of course you were not asked to, but you can recommend better ways of working by either benchmarking with other companies or with other divisions within the companies, or where you see that there is a definite area for sort of saving some money. I don't see any harm in reporting that way. So in terms of value add, you can do that, but the moment you make that as your prime objective, then I don't think so you're serving the purpose of an internal auditor. So I think for me, just to sum it up, it is a cost center. It is going to be a cost center, but having said that, the enhancement is definitely has to be there in terms of value add.
Thank you, sir. Coming to Jashan ji, basically, to form any report, we need an input, right? And being an internal auditor, I'm sure all of us face an issue in getting the information at the right time, and departments are basically reluctant to share some of the information, developments. It happens sometimes, board is aware, but sometimes internal auditor is not aware what has happened, or you have received some notices, or, So how to practically deal with it? Because the end result is report, and we need the right input also to get the report. So how practically, we handle these challenges?
Right, so good afternoon, everyone. First of all, thank you for giving me this opportunity. I think it's both a pleasure and a privilege. Coming to the question, I think I'll look at it in two ways. First is, what is the information that you're asking from? So if you've come to someone at the last minute asking for information, he would not appreciate it. That may come across as a reluctance, but it is a practical difficulty. And many a times, I think 8 out of 10 times, this will be the reason why you will get someone saying that I can't audit because I don't have information. So the first point is agree in advance what you need exactly, when do you need it, in what format do you need it. I think most problems will get solved. The second aspect is certain aspects of information which is highly confidential. So if you are a consultant asking for a BOM, if you are a consultant asking for proprietary information which is very closely guarded, that information will never be given to you. In that situation, you can't expect, for example, you walk up to Coca-Cola, ask them what is your formula, you're not going to get that.
Yeah.
I had a situation when I was in a statutory audit, the share capital account, which is generally audited by an intern, used to be audited by the GCSP, which is the signing partner of the Global Consolidated Financial Statements. So nobody at anywhere in the world knew who was the owner of the company. So you never know what data information is critical for which type of client or entity that you're auditing. So if it is confidentiality reasons, you talk to the management, understand who will, if they want only one pair of eyes to see that information, who should be that person be. It doesn't mean you as a firm or as an entity don't audit it, but probably they'll not give it to an article, right? So probably a senior guy will have to look at that information. The third, which is the most problematic, is they don't want to give you the information because there's a problem in it, right? So that is first of all is a red flag. So over here we come across situations as auditors where the guy is reluctant not because there's a fraud, but because he doesn't want to get into the whole audit process. So he knows you have a deadline of Friday, it's already Wednesday, he'll give you some, I will not use a bad word, but he'll give you garbage on Thursday, and then you don't have time to figure out what that data really is, and then you don't have an option to extend your audit. So you end up practically not auditing that information. So again, coming back to the first point, you agree with what information you need on what date. So if you don't get it on that date, you escalate to board, audit committee, whoever is in charge, and you get that on the record. And obviously, if that is the case, you caveat your report. So I think that's the way I would summarize the reluctance of, so you need to identify why is there a reluctance from the department. And to bridge this gap, obviously, you need to have good relationship with all the stakeholders, so that if you go with a complaint to the CFO or the audit committee or anyone, you have a good working relationship so that they understand your problem and they empathize with you and try to get a solution. If, as an internal auditor, let's say you are in an internal control department, and you need to be independent, at the same time, you don't have to be very good friends, but you need to have a good working relationship. So that, I think, goes a long way in ensuring you get the right information at the right time.
Sure, thanks. So that means, if I can add, basically the communication is again one of the very critical component for internal audit function. So thank you, sir. Coming to you, Vivek ji, we would like to understand that what should be the content of a report, like how lengthy it should be, what kind of analysis, how detailed it should be, or how short it should be, when it is treated as complete, and how we can make it I would say catchy or insightful, so that board also reviews and understand that, okay, what we are trying to, because we also get a very small time to discuss in ACM or with the stakeholders. So what exactly should be the component of the report?
First of all, thank you very much for inviting, and I'll be learning a lot and meeting people. Fortunately, of the 35 plus years experience, 25 plus years I was on the other side. I never did internal audit. You must have seen in my introduction, I am not a chartered accountant. So I was a little scared coming here, facing all chartered accountants here and talking on internal audit. But I don't know. As I said, I was on the other side, and really when I was on the other side, I used to hate internal audit. So some of the comments which made data giving garbage, etc. So I was on the other side. And then when I took over for some reasons, the internal audit, you know, engineers understand engineers' language. So that is how when I was on the other side, I said, what is that? I would be happy when internal audit was coming to me and sharing something. So that was my start point. Now, when I started that time, I don't know, many organizations still make the report in Word document.
Yeah.
And that too, we place exception report, maybe high level important observation, maybe 2-page, 3-page. In 100 page of the audit document, there is something, and then 100 pages are put in the annexure. If you want to, you can read. Means please don't read.
Right.
So that is where I thought, no, this is not correct. And Word document still is having some limitation. And to adjust the table, our internal audit team was making lot of efforts in adjusting it. First thing what we did is we moved our report from Word document to PowerPoint. And we started using power of PowerPoint, where what you want to present, you can use some symbols, some signs, and you can present it more effectively. Your question is really lengthy, so I will try to cover it in brief, but maybe I need some time to explain. Now this is on first thing which we started making the presentation of our presentation. It is very important. I'm not placing the report, I'm presenting the report. Second thing, your question said what report content. I will take little time on this. Our PowerPoint presentation of 100 pages is placed in the audit committee without alteration. Now what it contains? Now what audit committee would like to see in our report? We looked at that first. Now audit committee would like to know that this internal audit made some plan which is made at the beginning of the year. Whether we completed that audit in time or not, are there any changes in the plan which we made or not? So at beginning of the year, in January, February, freeze the calendar. Any change in the calendar, we go to the audit committee, and if there is everything which is completed, should I not take credit? Why should I assume that audit committee knows it?
Yes.
So I'm presenting my work to the audit committee that this is my plan and I completed it. So the first part of the report which I place is the audit plan which is there, I completed it. I mean, my team has completed it. If there is any change, we place card it for approval, record it. For some reason, if some management put request for additional audit, I am taking extra effort. Again, I'm emphasizing, I'm selling my work. I'm doing something extra. I'm placing it to the audit committee. In the process, I'm informing the audit committee, I'm doing something extra than what I'm doing it. So the first part which we present is, we call it AOP, or Annual Operating Plan, calendar and its status. The second, which is most important point, which again I am emphasizing, 25 years, which I was on the other side. Now if you look, internal audit, when we are doing the review of, let's say, business or function, my strong belief is 80 to 90%, I'm just using the word, processes are satisfactory. We don't find any exception. I have not seen, and we studied all banks and manufacturing large report, we never place these 80-90% processes are satisfactory. In my report, for every business or function, I place 3 to 4 pages that these are the processes across business function we reviewed and we found that satisfactory. The process which is to be reviewed and the process which is reviewed, how we reviewed it, and why we find there is process which we found satisfactory. We are in the business. We understand there could be gaps, but these 80-90% are satisfactory, and there is gap only in 20%. So that is how we split our report, the processes which are satisfactory and processes which are having observations. Now coming to the observation, of course we will get gaps. That gaps, now for NBFCs, I don't know how many of you know, but now risk-based internal audit is made mandatory. Now that risk-based mandatory which is being made. We do rigorous risk-based process reviews. So we identify the entities. Entity is nothing but business or function which we want to do the audit. Within the entities, we map level 1, level 2 processes, and level 1, level 2, entity level 1, level 2, the processes risk categorization is done. Any risk, inherent risk which is high, or any risk control which is high, there are definitions which are defined. We are focusing more on high, either side high, and that is our major focus of the audit area. The observation in any HH is considered high importance to the audit committee. And we also in limited time review these HH more rigorously with respect to LL. That is our approach. Now audit committee will be interested that any HH, if there is observation, what is the gravity of the observation? That gravity of observation again is classified under unsatisfactory, needs improvement, or improvement opportunity. What is improvement opportunity? Just now our friends said that we can add value. So while walking the journey, we didn't find any control lapse, but we found certain processes can be done better. There are certain opportunities to save the cost.
Right.
Then why not recommend that? So we flag that, please, this is not the problem. This is while walking the journey we found as improvement opportunity. So we classified that as an improvement opportunity in our report. Now the report doesn't end there. To this observation, there need to be alignment with the business or the function. We place those observations to the business and function, and we ask them, boss, if you accept it, give us the response. We capture that response with, thanks to Govindji, he is from Bajaj Auto, we learn from him, they are capturing corrective action and preventive action. So say for example, a observation needs some gaps, that gaps need to be closed. No thought, no second thought about it. But we are not stopping there. We are also asking, okay, for non-occurrence of this, what is to be done? And that we call it as preventive action. So the observation will have audit response of RCA, why this happened, and what will be the corrective action, and what will be the preventive action. And we capture this with timeline. We are not just leaving the observation there. He need to or she need to tell us this particular corrective action will be done when, and this particular preventive action when he will complete. And that is placed to the audit committee as part of the report. Now, there will be laundry list of those observations. Now, what we do with that tracker which we maintain as corrective action and preventive action. And this is very interesting. Again, some of the panelists responded, I think Govind only responded, promoter sponsored or professional sponsored. See, basically I just want to place it. Again, Bharat mentioned Pula Deshpande's reference. वो पान वाला का story है ना. So internal audit can be as monotonous as you just make the pan and then give it, or otherwise you can make a beautiful pan. So it's up to you how you want to make this pan. Right. Is the internal audit I could connect with. Now we introduce something called action taken status staircase. What does that mean? The timeline which has been given by the auditee. Who has given that? Given by the auditee. If there is commitment which is given to the board is not adhered, then we call this as a false confirmation. The response which he is giving, that this is the observation which I closed, we are not taking it at the face, we call that as a close to verify. In following quarter, we review that and then we call it closed. And if we found that as a gap, then only we change, then also it is called as a false confirmation. So auditee is saying that this particular observation I closed, following quarter we went and we checked, we say there is a gap, this gap need to be accepted by the auditee, yes, what I said is wrong, then that is called as a false confirmation. And false confirmation basis matrix is connected to the annual bonus of senior most business or function head. Is the professional approach you need to place it, get the management approval to this. Look how seriousness the game comes with the communication and the reporting. Now, if I am placing it, boss, this finance head, CFO, made the 2 times false confirmation, so he is casual to the audit committee or the board. Will audit committee will not be forced to see your report? Now that is how you need to make pan beautiful. And in the process, sell this.
Right.
Last piece, and then I will start.
Sure.
Now all this again still you want to bring attention to the audit committee.
Right.
Now how will we do? And you must have experienced that many of the board members will open the book of 200 pages or 500 pages in the board meeting, but still you need to sell and show them, boss, there is a problem. So we introduced some concept called Management Audit and Awareness Score. We call it MAS. What that means is simple. Let's say finance is the entity which we are auditing. In that there are balance sheet related items, P&L related items, some control items. So we will list those processes, identify those processes, and go to CFO and say, first we will identify the risk and get to inherent risk control risk matrix and ask him, we introduce something simple called process rating. Please give your rating how you believe what the score on 0 to 3. 0 is the best, satisfactory, 3 is the worst. And before start of the audit, we ask him to give the score. This is very important. This is engagement with the CFO. Boss, please give your score what you believe that what your controls are they best or are they worst? He gives the score, and there is simple weight basis matrix of the combination of the risk with the process rating on a scale of 100. That score is called as an audit score. Time doesn't stop here. Post completion of audit, basis of observation, we give our score. Now, minimum score post audit need to be 70. If it is below 70, we call finance as audit fail. In a way, trick to the bringing to the audit committee, boss, finance as an entity is failed, please take your attention. And which is failed? Again, individual process where there is a score which is moved from 0 to 3 is a fail. This is called, we call it audit. But as I mentioned, it is management, audit and awareness. Now we understand there could be problems. But if there are problems, and if those problems are known is okay, but non-known is considered very bad. So we are asking at start of the audit, give the rating. Basis that some score comes. Post audit, we give the rating. Basis that some score comes. And variance between this two is plus minus 10%. Then awareness score is failed. So the CFO in the example is not having proper controls, but also he is not knowing there are problems. And awareness score failed again is having link to annual bonus. Now this all game of 100 pages which I explained can't be done in 2 hours in 15-minute slot or 20-minute slot which you are giving. So the last part we have created over period structure meeting. So the first full report is full day presented 2 times half day to managing director along with SMTs, where each and every observation is discussed threadbare. The second meeting is called pre-audit meeting, where Mr. Sanjeev Bajaj, our chairman, audit committee chairman, and SMT spend full day on internal audit report. And then it is placed in 2 hours, and over a period, the time slot is increased from 15 minutes to 30 minutes to now we have got 1.5 hour in our audit committee to discuss the points. So I think I more than little bit elaborated, but this is how what we do in the report and the content. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. I think lots of takeaways from this, and that is how we make it a serious engagement, and I think which is more important. Sir, I'll just pick up couple of points here. When we talk about management audit and awareness program, I think this is interesting. So you are also scoring them. It's not one-sided. I would like to understand couple of in more detail. Like, so basically what we are saying is that when we start an audit function, any department, so we create a matrix and we give our scoring, where the team and CFO and everybody will be involved. And post-audit, we say that, okay, what was budget and what was variance. So I think as a policy also, you need to get it approved from audit committee, that is what we are going to start. And second, you talk about HH, high control and high risk both. So if already there is a high control, that means it is an important function, and that's how, great. So I think lot of inputs, and that's why, internal audit has moved, that's what we say, that has moved from pure vouching or a normal reporting to a serious business, and that is what the value add that can come in. So really appreciate, sir. With this, I'll just move to Satish ji on basically, sir spoke about, I think there was a clarity that audit ACM presentation and process-wise reporting, right? So generally, sir, as a mid-size, medium firms, what we do is that we give a process-wise report, right? And then there is a ACM presentation that is given to this. So how is it a combined report, like, or it is basically two reports that goes in high, medium, all the points goes to the stakeholders, that process owners or audit function that we are auditing, and ACM. Yeah, so is it two reports made differently, or it can be combined, or how we should do this reporting?
See, as you said in the beginning, Mohit, since you Googled and you didn't find any perfect audit report, it's a fact. So it all depends upon the audit department. It all depends upon the company, the culture, as to what they want to see in the presentation. And also it is upon the internal audit department to ensure that what they have seen, it is presented to the audit committee. So it is actually speaking both. You have to align yourself to the expectations of the audit committee and the management, as well as you need to ensure that even if they may be they're not expecting it or some detailed reporting, or they're expecting a sort of one pager, but if you want to talk more about it, you need to know how to go about doing it.
Right.
So there is no kind of science here, or how to go about doing it. So it depends on company to company. I have heard about companies where they finish the audit committee within half an hour, but it is extremely effective. It's about just giving 2 slides or 1 slide, and they talk about it, and that's how it is done. And also there are companies who take hours and hours of audit, and so it depends upon company to company. For me, an audit committee presentation would be kind of a window or a door, which is something like I eagerly wait for, where I get an opportunity, or the audit head gets opportunity to tell the audit committee chairman or the audit committee or the or the senior management, this is where the company is not doing well, this is where the department is not doing well, this is where we need to improve, and this is how to go about doing it. So this door and window, or whatever you call it, has to be optimally used.
Right.
It should not we should not waste that time in terms of giving them information which they probably are not looking out for, or at the same time miss out on any vital elements. So which means that since we know that there is it's actually a time-bound kind of an meeting, so you need to ensure that you give an executive summary of your issues, what you have in mind.
Right.
So also a detailed report should be there. It depends upon company to company. Some companies don't want to see the detailed report. The executive summary has to say it all. It's very important to note that we are not here to give an opinion. It's a fact-based reporting. It's an issue-based reporting, and we are speaking what we see it is. If controls have failed, they have failed. yes, we need to give a perspective as to whether how deep the problem is, or how sort of, whether is it kind of only 2 controls out of 20 controls have failed. It's up to you how you, present the perspective. You should not even use that window also to sensationalize your report. That's very important, because there are many, I know some, teams which probably where they sort of talk too much about what's going wrong. Everything is honky-dory, things are bad, we need to improve a lot, and that gives a wrong picture. And that probably you're digging your own grave there also.
Right.
So it's very important that you use a window, be very careful, you work hard, basically what you want to talk about, ensure that your expectations are aligned with the audit committee, which means that you need to meet them before the audit committee to know that what are they expecting in that 1 hour, 2 hour, or 30-minute window. So going from that alignment, you make a presentation in such a way is that it starts with kind of an executive summary as to what your issues are all about.
Right.
And after the executive summary, which again is not an opinion,
Yeah.
it's a fact base, then you give a status of the controls, what you feel are working or not working, and try to give details about the controls, what kind of controls are failing or not failing. For example, it could be a manual control which is failing, it could be automated control which is failing, or it could be a preventive control which has failed, or detective control which has failed. Or it could be a financial control which has failed, or operational control. So if you can sum up all these things and try to talk more about this type of control which has failed, rather than just say that 3 have failed out of 20, that will empower them to take a decision as to whether should they, sort of take a decision on the spot to do something about the department or not.
Agree.
So it's up to you how you present in your audit committee sort of presentation as to have an executive summary, have a summary of controls as to what controls talking about, and which controls have passed. I'm not sure you would want to write too much about it. It's up to the audit committee, the audit department or this thing. But there are many sort of audit committees who definitely ask as to how they pass, what are the controls which are passing, what do you feel about it, whether are they repetitive or whatever.
Right. Right.
And then comes basically the audit, sort of report in detail. Now, in many cases, the audit reports may be lengthy. So this is my personal view that the executive summary should be strong enough to talk everything about the report, which could be a 3-slider or 4-slider, and you need to pack everything in that 3-slider for that particular area. Which means if you're talking about a risk rating, it has to come in that. If you're talking about sort of whether it's operational deficiency or a control deficiency, it has to come into that. Whether you're talking about a root cause, the basic things about internal audit, like the condition, criteria, cause, impact, root cause, has to be a part of the executive summary. How you present it, it's up to you.
Got it.
You should ensure that it is not kind of too clobbered, or it is too kind of tight where people, or you should not even try to make it too short just for the sake of executive summary, where people then are forced to ask questions, what exactly are you trying to say? So I would say an ideal executive summary would be such where the audit committee knows what you're talking about. They don't have to look up to you. They will directly go to the audit and ask, boss, what is happening? So that is, I would say, a win-win for the the internal department, where what you write, you are not asked about it. What exactly are you trying to say?
Right.
So this is, for me, that sort of presentation is really, really very critical for me, because you get this chance only once in a quarter.
Right.
And if you miss that chance in that quarter, you cannot repeat those issues in the subsequent audit committee. You have lost the window.
Right.
And it is not as if you have lost it, the company has lost it to take action on it. So it's very important that how you present it and how meaningful it is, and without sensationalizing about it. So this is for me what an audit committee is all about. And yes, it should be kind of simple enough also, where you try to use as much as kind of less of a jargon, or try to avoid abbreviations or whatever as much as possible. Try to be very clear about it. And if you can possibly talk with graphs or with pie charts or with something else, you can. Or even tables can talk about it. So it's up to you how you do it. So there is no kind of fixed way how it is done. So for me, I would say, just to sum it up, my internal audit presentation, for any company, an ideal way is to first sort of give an executive summary. Yes, you may start with the the audit plan status, then give an executive summary. You may also, one thing I missed out is that you probably, or one should try to show the open issues from the previous audits, which is something which I missed out, I'm sorry. So probably before the executive summary, you can start with your open issues of the past audits. So when they read the, your report right now, in that 30-minute window, whatever, they know that this department issues are still not resolved. They are overdue. Now the auditor is facing more issues. So all those things has to come in your audit committee presentation.
Got it.
So it's up to you, as creative as you can get. Don't sensationalize it. Don't make it a movie like Sholay or whatever. At the same time, don't mince words where you have to say, call spade a spade, please do that. So it is as black and white, and as much as use pictorial graphs and so much. And then if you wish, you can attach an audit report as an annexure, where it's quite possible that they may really want to look into that observation, what exactly happened.
Yeah.
So which means, for example, aging of inventory. You might give an executive summary, a point in aging inventory, but they may really want to know what products are basically lying in stock. So it's important for you to give a cross-reference also, because when they are at home and when they're going to the presentation, they will get an opportunity to see the executive summary point and also read much more about it. So cross-referencing also has to happen rather than just attach as an annexure.
Right.
So so it is actually speaking, really an opportunity for us. In fact, it's a great thing where we use this window and to sort of, convey the message and get your job done. That's it from my side.
Thank you. I think reporting now we can understand. It's, I think, more critical than the task we perform on the ground. And I think that's the fact. That is what the expectation of audit committee stakeholders are there from the internal auditors. Coming to you, Govindji, if you would like to add something, because I think this is one of the critical things we would like to understand on the reporting. And also, just to add one more question is that, what challenges we face as a, I would say, assurance partner when the internal audit is outsourced to firms like us. Few companies ask for the signed audit report. So, whether it is an attest function, whether internal audit is an attest function or just a ACM presentation and a normal report works, because it will not make much of the difference. But if you go technically, you have to take out UDI and sign it. So whether it is an attest function is what we have to understand. And also, if you would like to add some points on the reporting part.
So in case of outsourced internal audit, perhaps this is one of the challenge.
Yeah.
I mean, companies may expect auditors to sign the audit reports in whatever way, as he was explaining. But in my view, if an auditor is issuing a report, he will be issuing it in today's digital world through email. So if I am issuing a report, then it means I own it. I can't say I have not issued it. So then getting it authenticated through UIDI or some other means, it doesn't add any purpose. Right, so again, people may have crazy ideas, you sign it through this or that, but that's a nonsense. And another question, what was your name?
To add on anything on the reporting side you would like to add?
Reporting fundamentally, as I've learned in 30 years of my experiences, I should write to impel action on the management or to help management to form an opinion. My report should be crisp and clear. It should be precise, and rather my approach is, everybody may have different opinions, so nothing is right or nothing is wrong. So I start from bird's eye view to very narrow focus. I first tell, my reporting style is, if I can share.
Yeah, sure, please.
Is it relevant if I share?
Definitely, sir.
So we take in Bajaj Auto a process in complete detail. Then we identify for any process that what are the deliverables or what parameters we will examine. We call it assurance objective. For example, if I am talking about a material receipt function in my plant, then what is my criteria which a management would like to get into? First is whatever material the company has claimed to receive, whether it is actually received or not. Whether material has been received in the right number, in the right quantity, or whether it has been placed in the right location. So we have to define what are the key things a management would like to know about from this audit report. You may call it anything, we call it assurance objective or audit parameters. Having decided that, then we examine that in the threadware. Then for each of the assurance objective, we say whether it is adequate or not. If it is if we call it adequate, we say it is adequate, but we also have to prove it how it is adequate. On what basis we have found it adequate, and we have to explain the size of the universe, if we have adopted any sampling methodology, then why we have adopted a particular sampling methodology, and finally what is the outcome. And outcomes, implication, reasons, then the corrective preventive action. So for adequate or inadequate, if it is inadequate, why it is inadequate. So we take ownership. So tomorrow, management may ask me for any area which I said it is adequate, and if something went wrong, I am held responsible. It's a big task, but we have put our neck on the block. It takes a lot of ownership or courage to do this, but we have done that, and it has given us result because it keeps my team always on the toes. Whatever I am writing, I have to own it. I have to be factual, not judgmental. So that is about report. And in report, again, we have to talk facts. Simple perspective, then outcome, why it has happened, corrective, preventive action. So it has to be complete package, and finally a one-page executive summary. So complete report is meant for the process owner. Executive summary is meant for the top bosses, CFO, MD or whatever. They don't have time to go through your 10-page or 15-page report, one-page report. And for audit committee, even for one page becomes maybe 4 paragraphs. So that's how my take on the audit report.
Okay. Thank you, sir. I think ownership is something which we should be able to defend sometime. If someone has asked about our points, I think that is very relevant. Coming to you, Jashanji, what if you would like to add on your experience on reporting and ACM presentation?
Okay, so I would largely agree with what my fellow panelists have said. I think it's important to know who is the reader of the report. So if you're discussing with the process owner, I don't think the process owner needs a lot more granularity as compared to, let's say, the audit committee or the CFO. So if the report's going to the CFO and eventually to the audit committee, it has to be crisp. They don't like Word documents is what I understand. Nobody likes Word docs. So moving to a PPT is highly advisable. It gives you an option to present it in a meaningful fashion. You can add a lot more data in a small space. So you can crunch a lot of information in 2 or 3 slides. So what we do is, as a practice in JCI, we rate every report. So if I'm auditing a company, let's say I'm auditing an entity in Korea. So I would say, okay, is this entity overall, is it okay, not okay, or is it terrible? So that is a high level, an opinion, which is obviously fact-based, similar to what Likhite sir said, that we have certain parameters of identifying how critical an issue is. So if it is okay, then doesn't get into a lot of debate and discussion. If it's not okay, then what is not okay is obviously debated. And if it is not okay at all, then heads roll very quickly. So this happens in SOX testing as well, if you're looking at a US SEC kind of an environment. A lot of things are dependent also on regulatory stuff like US FCPA. So did you come across cases of potential bribery to government officials, etc., etc. So those again are looked at a very, very different lens in that environment. Doesn't matter if it's 10,000 rupees or 10 lakh rupees. If it's a small amount, then that is a very, very big risk from a regulatory standpoint. So it depends what you're highlighting. So that, the reason for a control or a process failing, you need to be objective and factual in what you report, and be very, very crisp and precise. Putting a lot of annexures is good for people who are going to end up fixing the problem. It is not very good for audit committee or the board. They generally don't grow into those granularities unless it is a terrible reporting. So in our in company, there's a mechanism where all badly rated reports need a CFO sign off. So the CFO generally signs off, the global CFO generally signs off the report, and typically someone either loses his job or loses his bonus. So that's the way it works. Yeah, I mean, that's to put it bluntly.
Great, great. I think you touched upon a very important point, which I would like your experience also on this. That how does regulatory environment changes the scope and the reporting aspect of the internal audit report? As you mentioned, SOX. It can be coming to your industry, NBFCs. I think every day you have something or else from RBI audits. You have multiple agencies. So how does an internal auditor, the scope and reporting changes, and how you get involved in all those changes as an internal audit function?
Yes, regulators, their job is to see that whatever you are working for, and they clearly spelled out as far as banking NBFCs are concerned, they consider internal audit head, risk head, and compliance head. They are their extended arm to ensure that regulations or whatever are the compliance which is required, they are properly adhered. Now, one important learning which I just want to share with you. These regulations are important to be adhered, and finally they are regulator.
Right.
But please, 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 don't get bogged with what regulators are saying. Just giving this example, regulators expect internal audit to check KYC document. KYC is know your customer.
Yes.
And they have given certain guideline. Now please understand, in a month, Bajaj Finance is disbursing 10 lakh plus loans. And if we want to check the KYC document, a KYC may have 3 critical documents. Now, just imagine if we will do verifying that, how much staff and what value add we will do in doing the verification of KYC. Now, for satisfying regulator, we started checking 200 documents in a quarter. Now, this 200 checking is not here, not there. Yeah. We put some small person in the team, and then we are getting it done. It was not helping us in doing that as value add. Because really, I personally don't like something to do it, something called concurrent audit. Now, what we did for that purpose is we connected with regulators. Now, connected with the regulator and asked straight question, ki we want to give assurance to ourselves. I want to stand up and say ki KYC is doing good. And then I spoke to management also. And the journey is we started KYC from physical KYC to CKYC to eKYC. Now, when it is eKYC, then moving from 200 to companies started getting to 2000, to companies started getting to 2 lakh, to now we are at 80% digital KYC. I'm just trying and giving that perspective that how internal audit can drive change from a physical, which was non-value added services, just to satisfy regulator, to connect with the regulator, to convince management. And there was tremendous manual work which at a company level got vanished. Accuracy increased multifold, and regulator also was satisfied. And in the process, what we need to check, We need to check whether the process is properly added or not, the eKYC which is being there, paper is stored or not, and sample 10, check it, that the process is working or not, and get the engineer and see whether backend, API and other things are working fine or not. Problem solved. I can stand up and say, yes, things are working fine. So yes, regular are going to do their job. They are going to come after, and you all may be knowing now they are coming more with the NBFCs, where we are already in upper layer. Upper layer means they started looking us like bank, and they are expecting whatever banks are doing, we are supposed to follow the same. And every day or alternate day, some or the other things are coming. Let it be upper layer, let it be KYC, let it be FPC. You need to be upper layer, that how can I use digital means. And previous panel I was told there was a lot of discussion.
Yes.
Now, one of the requirement is, and I'm just sharing some of the example how just don't get bogged with the regulations. What is that they are interested is they are interested that tum sab theek chal rahe ho na.
Right.
Now there need to be photo which is to be placed for every loan. Now photo Govind ji ka hai ki Satish ka hai, how will I know? Is it possible to check? हमने सिंपल दिखाया कि JPG डॉक्यूमेंट है, उधर हेमा मालिनी का फोटो दिखाओ या माधुरी का दिखाओ, हमको कुछ फर्क नहीं पड़ता है. We are just ensuring that photo is there. So this is what we tried. Then we tried big way using technology of OCR, where wherever we need regulation to be read, OCR can read it, and then at a mass scale we can check whether the compliance are adhered or not. So we made attempt of the digital journey, and anyway you know we are moving to the fintech very fast. And fintech में सामने तो आपको वो छोटा बॉक्स में मोबाइल के इधर 2 मिनट में होता दिखता है, but please understand so many, we are having maybe 25 plus platforms, they are getting connected, external platform like CBL, Bureau, etc. are getting connected, real time the things are coming out and in, and we need to ensure that seamlessly these are working. The good third part which I just will share is we really in form and spirit move to third level of defense. First level defense is business or function. The second level of defense, which is sort of concurrent or quality assurance, that we kept it with the respective business function. So we invested around 1,000 concurrent assurance function unit in the respective business or function. And please understand, our industry is little different. We are not at a static pace. When the company is growing 40% year on year, then different products are getting invented. Within the products, different innovations are being taken place. Every day, the way things are moving, things are getting changed. Technology is coming big way. So really, regulator are worried, rightfully so, more than we are worried. Because regulator will simply catch our neck. Business will say something goes wrong, what you people are doing. Now all the more, our job is becoming really more tough, challenging and interesting. Depends on you, how you want to take it. So just don't get bogged with regulators. Regulators are doing their job. Management is expecting you to do something great. Things which are doing great, till then internal audit is at the corner. Something goes wrong, internal audit, NEC is at your place. So make your life interesting is better option.
So if you look at positively, we are required and we are relevant up till now. अपने बिना चलेगा नहीं ना फिर, कोई तो चाहिए.
It's depend on you. You can check 200 KYC and sit at a corner and then continue doing your job. Still you did your job, but find your way and then make your job interesting.
Yeah.
He's referring to the fall guy.
I think a very useful insight on how the KYC. One aspect could be that we just take over the regulator and say, okay, we'll try to increase from 200 to 400, 400 to 800, and we'll see our sample size and all those stuff. And second approach is that we are going to the regulator. Again, it comes that how we are talking or communicating with the stakeholders, those charged with governance, authorities. And I think it's a very important learning, sir, that we are not just here to report that, okay, this is a gap, we could not find this many vouchers. This is an issue. We could not get this many credit. I think we are here to do much more serious business, and as a backbone of the organization, if I would say. And that's how the reliability comes in. So thank you, sir. I think a very important, insight on this. Govind, if you would like to add something on this, on basically the regulation from your industry, as sir mentioned about RBI.
So fortunately, our industry doesn't have much regulation. So
That's good.
Yeah. No, we are regulated, but not that much. I mean, that is, huh? Yeah. So I don't have to be bothered that much, but still, statutory compliance is a big thing, which management would like us to be alert all the time. So be it for labor, we are factory, so we have labor-related compliances. So we have to carry out this compliance audit every 3-4 years to see that compliances are carried out, or whether we have. And nowadays, in many of the companies, have this compliance framework where these periodically things are being ticked boxed, checked.
Yeah.
All the compliances which are required, critical compliances are listed, and the same people who are responsible are aligned to it. Then periodically they have to say whether they have complied it or not, and on what basis they have said they have complied. So life is much easier now for us. So we only have to see that process, whether that process is running fine or not. But apart from labor compliances, wherever you go, whether it is TDS, GST, or any other act, I mean, onus is on us to see that company is doing rightful compliances. So in GST regime, again, there are lot many issues. TDS government is now giving us Rozgar Guarantee Yojana, making too many TDS requirements. So material TDS and blah blah whatever. So we also have to basically see that compliances are made. So, but not that much like NBFC, and their focus is more on. I assume that at least 30-40% of your time must be going on compliances, RBI compliances, but that is not the case in case of auto industry.
So, but sure, please.
So in terms of manufacturing, probably the regulatory has gone beyond the Factories Act and is just now entering the cyberspace now. So this is something which probably even no internal auditor, even a manufacturing can avoid. So it's something, for example, latest thing is now we have to start reviewing the audit trail, which has come, from the corporate affairs. Now this actually statutory auditors, I mean, there, if I can call headache, but eventually what happens is that then you have a law which says that, or requirement which says that they have to depend upon internal auditor's report, which means internal auditor by default, it depends upon company to company again, but they also have to start getting into these audits. So so now we're talking about cyberspace, we have this data privacy coming into the picture, we have audit trail kind of requirements there. So I think regulatory is creeping in, you can say, in the manufacturing space, not at a very, kind of a, it's good. I'm not saying that it should not be there, but then those days probably where we are, confining ourselves to Factories Act, probably now we need to start looking beyond that and see whether where we can contribute or where we are expected to contribute.
Sure. I think we are almost at 5. I'll just take a couple of questions and then we'll open a forum, open forum. Govinji, back to you. I think Jason, told that if you want information from the, departments, you need to maintain the relationship, and I think rightly so. But again, as a auditor, you have to maintain independence, you have to maintain the relationship. So how generally to balance in the reporting aspect, basically?
So there are 3-4 aspects into it. One is how much value your management is giving to you. That is one. Next is what message you are conveying to the auditees. One message can be, I am there to catch thieves. Another is, look, I am a third party who will critically review your function to tell you areas where you can improve. So It can be partnering also. So how do we position ourselves? That is important. And another thing is not to make things personal. If we stick to stating facts rather than being judgmental, things become easier. If you say, boss, we have seen so many transactions out of 1,000, let's say in 5 transactions there were these problems. I am not saying you are good, bad, you are stupid, tum company ko dubo dega and all that. So
Yeah.
then if you stick to the facts, things are okay. And if we have insight into the business and we are saying ki this fact is ki 1,000 mein 5 mein problem hai, but actually that is not a problem. What we are stating fact, but that is not relevant. What we are saying, that is not a relevant issue. So how much knowledgeable we are, how we are we putting things in the right perspective, that makes a lot of difference. And message is to be there ki I am not there to catch you or to tarnish your image. I am here to do my job. My mandate is to do this and this. I am doing that. Nothing wrong with you. I am stating facts in the right perspective. Basically to improve your processes, or rather not to improve your process, but wherever there are possibility to improve your processes or there are lapses, then things become easier. And it is also important to be tough, because at times what happens, we have to maintain good relation, but it doesn't mean that we will not do our job.
Right.
Relationship is important, but relationship के चक्कर में अगर आप अपना काम नहीं करोगे तो आपको फिर नौकरी कितने दिन कर पाओगे.
Right.
So there is a fine balance. अगर हम objective हैं then problem ज़्यादा नहीं होती है. Problem तो वैसे रहेगी थोड़ी बहुत.
So I think in the interest of time, we'll take some questions if there are any questions from the audience. Maybe a couple of questions we can take, as we have experts here who can address the real practical challenges that we face. Sure.
Is it the industry-specific requirement, Vivek ji, that you have to specify the good things that you have found as well? Because typically I see auditors are very risk-averse, so they wouldn't want to comment on what is well. They would just like to point out faults, just to save themselves in the future. So you mentioned that there is a practice of reporting what has went well as well. Is that because it's driven by the industry, or it's a management expectation?
It is my expectation. As I said, I was from the other side, and I don't want to create internal auditor to be created as only police thief.
Yeah.
And really, we want to give correct picture, right? So if I'm reviewing a function, let's say HR or business, I want to really put fact to the statement and don't want to color it. Now, if I will not talk something good, which is larger portion, and if of the 180% I found the processes are in order, I'm just making a statement of fact that yes, I'm just not talking from perspective. I reviewed those processes, and of the 10 processes, 8 processes I really found nothing wrong, and I'm just informing it. In the process, putting right perspective was the objective.
Yeah, yeah.
There is no industry, there is no management, there is something which we started this as a process.
Yeah. And if I may just add, I think, sir, we also follow this, and we see that it adds up building a trust. You know, when it say that they don't only come with the problems, 5 times they have reviewed me and they said, okay, it was, satisfactory. But now he's coming with some point, that means really there is a issue. And, that is what I also feel, and that's how it has helped us also. So,
in fact, just one small point, if it is okay, I will add. What we started is, we started calling a business or function head as a guest auditor to do the audit. That person will run one full audit during the year. So that we are saying that, okay, it is not that we are only doing something. You also come and guide. We will follow you. I will also report to him that period.
if there's any other questions from the audience. I think it's a very rare possibility that we get so many experts here. So I think we should use best of it.
Exactly, because we have convinced them or we have confused them?
It's 5 o'clock. He's right. No, but I think very good insights.
No, please.
Okay. So if there are any questions, then we can please ask them. Otherwise, we may conclude on this panel discussion.
I request Murtuza sir to please add a few words on this.
Sure.
So I think, Jashan mentioned, I think good, not good and terrible. So I think terrible is a little more terrible word, and I would request all organizations to change that. But some say satisfactory.
We don't use the word terrible.
Acha.
I just want to give a perspective.
Okay, very good. So like most of them, they say for the report, whole report, they say satisfactory, unsatisfactory, good, that way. When it is an observation rating, everyone will agree it is a low, medium, high, or like we give the color, red, green and yellow. And there is a financial metrics, then there are other metrics. So everyone should have, Samir mentioned in the morning about the audit charter, audit manual. So in that audit manual, there should be a template. Okay, how will you rate the observation? That will bring that objectivity instead of subjectivity. Okay, itna number hai to ye, itna ye hai to ye, that way. And now the important question is like, if there are so many high, so many medium, so many low observation, how do you go from observation ratings to the report rating? So that is one confusing thing where there is a problem always. One last thing which I want to leave, but that is in part 2 we will cover. Some people are saying कि अभी word documents है तो थक गए थे इसके लिए PPT. अभी people are saying PPT भी पढ़ने के लिए time नहीं auditing के पास. तो इसके लिए someone told me, one of them, कि we now make a video of every observation, so that people can just listen to that. The audit committee can just only listen to that video and see it. Someone saying कि like this happened, टक करके. And that is interesting because जल्दी दिमाग में जाता है. पढ़ने का उनके पास उतना time नहीं और bore होता है पढ़ने के लिए. So I leave it. If they want to respond now, they can respond. Otherwise, I just leave it now. And maybe in part 2, we'll come back. कि हाँ ये अभी video चालू हो गए क्या reporting के लिए? We'll come back to you again.
I just hope those don't end up on YouTube.
So over to you, Rajesh.
So now question here is what Murtaja has said, ki people didn't wanted to see word or PPT, then video, blah, blah, blah. But important is ki if audit committee or the top management is really interested, then whatever form you present, they will read it. That's important. And if they don't want to see it, whatever you do, they will not see it. So maybe it is also upon us to ponder why they don't want to see it. Maybe we are also to be blamed for it.
Thank you, sir. On behalf of Pune branch and all the participants, sir, I extend my thanks to all panelists and moderator. I think this is one of the event where 12 faculties in a day are delivering the sessions in a daytime. And definitely on Sunday, full day, all participants spent with such a beautiful sessions. Really thanks to all the participants for patience listening. All credit I give to on behalf of Pune branch to Murtuza, because he has structured and taken all efforts to coordinate this event. Thanks on behalf of Pune branch to Murtuza bhai, all my committee members, staff for supporting us to this event. To connect industry with the members, this is one of the kind event, and it should get repeated now and then, every month, as rightly Murtuza mentioned. Every month we should organize such events where practicing and as well as industry members come together and share their thoughts, which will benefit definitely to both. So, sir, you are always invited. If you have any thought in mind to have such sessions in future, definitely we are there to host it. Need your support to organize such more programs in future. Thank you. Thanks to everyone. I request everyone to rise for the national anthem.
पंजाब सिंधु गुजरात मराठा द्राविड़ उत्कल गंगा विंध्य हिमाचल यमुना गंगा उच्चल जलधि तरंगा तब शुभ नामे गावे कह शुभ आशीष मांगे, गाहे तब जय गाथा। जन गण मंगलदायक जय हे भारत भाग्य विधाता। जय हे जय हे जय हे जय 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 हे।
भारत माता की